Hey guys, today we're in the fish room and we're actually going to update my Keyhole cichlid tank. I had this pair of Keyhole cichlids upstairs in my 75-gallon community tank, and they've been laying eggs all the time, but as soon as they hatch, all the other community fish gobble them up, and I want to definitely have them raise up some babies here. And so I put them in their own tank just yesterday, and I'm gonna overlay the video that I took.
My Keyhole cichlids just laid eggs on this rock. Now, they were in my 75-gallon community tank, and they keep laying eggs, but all the other fish keep eating them up as soon as they hatch. So I'm moving them to their own 38-gallon aquarium just for themselves. First, I'm gonna start by moving the rock that has maybe about 100 baby eggs on them. Look at all those eggs, guys. These are all baby Keyhole cichlids. I'm gonna put the egg right up front so I can keep an eye on it. Hopefully they don't eat their eggs in the transition, because sometimes that will happen, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on them. And now I'm gonna drip acclimate these guys so they transition well, and now it's time to put them in their new tank. Hopefully they take care of their babies. Guys, these are some peaceful dwarf cichlids. They're so gentle and they're such good parents. I can't wait to see if they're gonna raise all these baby Keyholes. It would be amazing to see just a ton of them in this tank.
But they laid about 100 eggs on this rock here, and when I transitioned them over during the night, they completely ate all of the rocks. Or not all the rocks, all of the eggs off the rock. And so I knew they may do that, but I was hoping they wouldn't do it so soon so I can keep an eye on it. But it's all gone. So today I'm actually going to get this tank set up just to be more conductive for a spawning environment, make these guys really happy so that they'll lay another batch of eggs for me. So first thing I'm going to do, these guys do like a little bit of heat. That's going to help with spawning, and so I'm actually going to grab a heater and put it in so that they're more likely to spawn much sooner. So I got my heater, I got it set to about 77 degrees. That's about the range that I had it upstairs, where they're spawning pretty frequently, so I'm going to keep that same tempo up. So let's go ahead and get this thing in the tank. Alright, we got the heater in. The Keyhole cichlids, they're looking pretty good in here. Here's one of the pair and the other one. I'm pretty sure that one may be the male, but this one has some long trailers too. It's really difficult for me to tell male and female, to be honest. But hopefully as the tank heats up, they'll start getting more in a spawning mood. To help that along, I'm gonna give them some black worms. Right here's my black worm culture. You can see some worms there. They're mixing with my cherry shrimp. They're all throughout here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of these out, put them in their tank. I'll probably feed them like that for a little bit each day until I start seeing some spawning activity. Now, black worms are like a really great live food that you can culture here. If you guys are interested in how I'm culturing these guys, stirred up a little bit too much with my turkey baster. Now, as you can see, I got a decent size chunk in there, maybe about 20 or so worms for them to eat. A little cluster right there is forming, so I'm gonna drop them in there, and guys, they should gobble this up.
Alright, time to feed the Keyhole cichlids some black worms, really just to get them in spawning mood. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Keyhole cichlids, they actually originate from South America. They're like a dwarf cichlid, and they're fairly peaceful for a cichlid, to be honest. They can live up to 10 years, and they get about 4 to 5 inches, with the males being a little bit larger than the females. They are omnivores, so they do like some meat, like the worms I'm putting in here. They also like their veggies as well, so you don't want to skip out on that. I plan on feeding these guys a mixture of spirulina pellets, some regular, carnivore pellets, and then some live food like these black worms here and mosquito larvae. And they typically stay to the bottom to mid-level of the tank, so that's normally the area that they occupy. But these are a really cool, peaceful fish. I wish I had it on video whenever I was was taking them out of the 75-gallon tank, the female was guarding her rock and all her eggs, and each time I went to reach down in there to grab the rock, she would like bite my hand, and they don't have any teeth, so it just kind of tickled, but they're very good at protecting their fry. And so I really can't wait until they lay another batch of eggs and I can watch them, I guess, raise up all their baby fry. And hopefully we get a good bit that survive into adulthood. I'll be making sure to pay a lot of attention to these here, so we can make that happen. But look at them gobble up these blackworms here. They're really a graceful fish. Like, they're not in a hurry. They're not like gobbling things up greedily. They kind of take their time. And that's what's really cool about them. Now, they have the signature keyhole mark that you see on the side of the body. That's why they're called keyhole cichlids. And they look really cool. Now, these are a male and female pair. I'm not 100% sure how to tell the difference, so if you guys know, drop it in the comments down below. But these two were the ones that were paired up and laying eggs, so I knew exactly which ones to scoop up that were the pair here. They're just scavenging right now for all the blackworms. There's a good bit of moss and like other random stuff in there, so they're gonna have to pick through that. But hopefully soon they'll be ready to spawn again.
Now guys, I've also been getting a lot of questions on when am I going to start my online store back up, and am I going to sell fish again. And I probably won't sell fish online anymore. It's just, or be really heavily in selling fish at all. It's just more of a hassle, not something I really enjoy. I do enjoy trying to spawn my fish, and I'll sell them locally or at various aquarium clubs, but I'm not trying to pump out a ton and sell them online and do the shipping. I enjoy fish keeping. I enjoy breeding them. The selling aspect can be fun, but it really wears me down, and I'd rather just focus on the fish and not the sales aspect if I don't have to. So if you guys are local, yeah, for sure you can buy some of my fish when they're ready. But if you're not local, I don't plan on shipping or putting a lot of effort into driving to drop off these fish. So just answering that question for those of you who've been emailing me or messaging me, you know, questions like that. But that's essentially the tank. You know, now is just let them do their thing. But I do want to show you some other babies, some other things happen in the fish room that I think you guys will find pretty cool. Alright, first, this is the Ameca Splendens tank. These are actually an endangered fish. These are a live-bearing fish, and they're pretty. Got the yellow finnage there. They have like a sparkled body, and they get a chunky size. But you can see there's there's endlers in there, but tons of little babies that they're popping out already. The baby ones are the ones with spots on them. The other ones are endlers. So there's a good bit of babies in here, and they're growing up nicely. Over here in the Platy tank and the Yucatan Molly tank, we actually have, let me turn this thing off, it's not too loud. We actually have a good bit of babies. I can see one little guy right here, see another one here and here. There's so many. Here's another little guy, that's an endler actually. There's one, I think I pointed him out. And there's so many tiny ones. Oh, there's a tiny little guy. I don't know if you can see him on film, but he's so tiny. You see a little eye right above my finger. So hoping to get a good bit of these Yucatan mollies. These are the sailfin mollies, and they have a giant fin up top. And so I can't wait till those guys are ready. And I just see a whole school of them with like a massive fin up top. So I'm really excited for that. Down here I have my trout goodie tank and the blind Mexican cave tetra. We can see the cave tetra here. They actually have skin grow over their eyes, so they don't have eyes. They just have a really sensitive lateral line where they can sense movement and various other things. Now you can see my trout goodie babies are already growing up. They're a decent size already. But the adults, they get a good 4 inches or so. And they're about like hot dog shaped, I would say. But really cool, really greedy fish, and kind of a unique live bearer here. The other one, this is probably the last tank I'll show you. that is pretty interesting at the moment. But I have some Skiffia multipunctata. These are another endangered live bear. Now these ones have like the notched fin up top. The males have black splotches on them. You can see the splotches here. Really cool, really active, greedy fish, not shy. Love these fish so much so far. And I already have babies. There's one right there. I have about 6 babies that I counted. There could be more, but these are the fry. And they don't predate on the fry from what I'm seeing. So when I'm looking on forums and other people that breed this fish here, they say they normally don't predate on the fry, and that's what I see. They don't seem to be chasing them down. There's another one up here. I don't know if we can see him now, but he was swimming in the roots over there. So I have about 6 or maybe even 7 babies in here kind of doing their thing. And then I also have a ton of mystery snails. If we look over here, here's a baby mystery snail, there's a baby mystery snail. They're kind of all over the place. They laid a sack up here, and you can tell all of it is already hatched. There's not much left. So those babies are growing out down here. So hopefully in a little bit I'll have about 100, mystery snails going, and a good bit of these Skiffia multipunctatas. These are so cool. Can't wait until the babies grow a little bit larger. Actually guys, there's actually one more tank I want to show you. This is my axolotl. This is Axie. I'm going to feed him an earthworm. He absolutely loves earthworms. I'm doing like a Central American fish room. Oh, there he goes. He just ate an earthworm. Awesome little guy. And so this guy is actually another endangered, I guess, aquatic pet. And they originate from Mexico. The nuns out there are actually doing some of the conservation work for these guys. Let me feed him the other part of his earthworm here. Oh, they're a little clumsy, so sometimes they miss. There we go. Let's see if he finds it. They're actually an ambush predator, but for being so clumsy and cute looking, it's hard to remember that they're an ambush predator, and that's kind of how they behave. They're not the brightest creatures, but they are so adorable and fun to watch. Oh, I think he spotted him. Let's see if he's going to get his worm here. He's thinking about it. He may have lost sight of it. I may have to move it in front of him again so that he'll be able to eat it, because I know he's hungry. He's always hungry. There you go, little fella. There you go. He got him. Gosh, such an awesome little creature. They stay fully aquatic, and they're so fun to watch. Well guys, that's gonna wrap up today's video. Hopefully, I zoomed in way too much here. Hopefully in a few weeks I have an update for you on the Keyhole cichlids, because I'm really excited to get some babies from them. They're just such a cool, peaceful fish that could go in most tanks, so I'm really excited about having those guys. But until next time guys, see ya.